Thank you for staying with us. Now, the brewing coalition course between Ondo State Governor and headsmen over an order by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu to them to quit the state forest reserves may, in the short run, be averted. Now, this following the intervention of the presidency, which brokered a fence-mending parley between Southwest governors and leaders of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association in the region, after expiration of the 7-day ultimatum given by Akeredolu, but the governor insists herders must vacate the forest reserves. Julie, I think the governor is quite clear from his ultimatum from day one. Now, this is different from what is happening in Oyo State. Sunday Igboho is saying Fulani, the entire Fulani people should vacate, where they are staying. In Ibarapa. But Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu is saying that, look, this forest reserve, that anybody should vacate. If you don't have any business there, you should vacate the place. I think this is just a simple misrepresentation of what the intention and everything from the reaction we've gotten so far.
Yes, I think the governor was grossly misquoted, misrepresented, and I think the big problem for a lot of people actually read the Daily Trust story and believed it hook, line, and sinker, because the banner headline was like, he told Fulani headsmen to leave. But and a lot of people thought that he actually told them to leave the state. But that was not what the governor said. He said that the herders should vacate the games reserve because those games reserves are located in Ondo North. That's where they usually take the people that they kidnap to. And he was just looking for a way to sanitize the environment, to keep the environment safe. So the truth is, ethnicity has been brought into this whole matter, and even the response of the presidency to it has not helped matters, because it has merely deepened our ethnic tensions. So the truth
also misinterpreted.
Yes, grossly. Clearly, at the time that response came, they had not had a correct grasp of what transpired at the meeting, what the governor said. Today, 4 governors from the Southwest, namely Governor Akeredolu, Makinde, Oyetola, and Fayemi, as well as 2 governors from the North. That's the governors of Kebbi and the governor of Jigawa State, met with the stakeholders, the cattle breeders, as well as their colleagues from the Southwest. And the governor reiterated the fact that he wanted anyone who had no business in the forest reserves to vacate the place. So the governor said that herders can use the place if they are registered with the state government. So the idea is to know who is occupying those forests, so that at any point one can be sure that legitimate herdsmen, true herdsmen, not people who are posing as Fulani herdsmen, but who are bare-faced criminals, are the ones using the games reserve. Also, during the meeting, the Miyetti Allah member said they too are victims of kidnapping. They talked about the case of a man who contested for the chairmanship of Miyetti Allah in Ogun State, who was called to come and bail some kidnappers, simply because the kidnappers were Fulani. He was invited to come and bail them, and when he got there, he refused to bail them and said, these are just criminals, these are not our members, and he walked away. By the time they got out of jail, they killed him. They killed him the day after they got out of jail. So the point that they were making is everyone is a victim of criminality. Let's not allow criminals to thrive in our communities, because it could be you tomorrow. It could be someone else, including those who are indirectly promoting criminality. They could be victims one day. So that's the point. And of course, the governor for your state also made the point that, look, we cannot use criminality to fight criminality, which is a way of saying that it does not approve of the actions of Sunday Igboho. So what the governor wants to see is for all of us to come together and find a way to defeat these kidnappers. This was the way it started. In fact, I was discussing with a very senior official in Katsina State this afternoon. I was saying, look, it makes sense for people to come together and defeat this thing at this embryonic stage. All of them, led by Fayemi and all of them from the Southwest, if those governors know what they are doing, this is the time to do whatever is necessary to defeat this thing at this stage. Because that person was telling me that, look, the delay, our inaction, is what has created an intractable problem now in Katsina, in Kaduna, in Zamfara, and even Sokoto, because in some local government in Sokoto, they still slaughter people for fun. These bandits, places like Tureta, Sapombrini, all of those places. So this is the thing. We all must come together and make sure that we defeat these fellows.
Mujid, Afenifere says presidency position or to quit on the quit order is pure arrogance and incitement. It's like to anarchy. Do you understand that? It's as if after this ultimatum given to people, the forest reserve, a lot of this socio-cultural group, ethnic group, they latched on to it, and this thing has been heavily politicized now.
I think somebody should talk to Garba Shehu, not to be putting emotions in the press releases issues on behalf of the presidency. Is occupying a very key position that it should not use to inflame an already tense situation just because he has some ethnic sentiments. Its reaction to the statement, as like Jide said, to the statement by the Ondo State governor, it's very reckless. I mean, you can't say the governor doesn't know what he's doing. We have channels of communication. If you are not clear about what the governor said, you could just easily have put a call to the State House in Akure. I mean, there are ways of clarifying these issues. Like the governor said, he said, we are after criminal elements. We want those who are occupying those forests to be registered. We want to have an idea of who and who stays where. I mean, the forest reserves along Ose or area, they call it J4 area. You know,
Okay,
very vast, very vast. After Ijebu? Yeah, very vast area. And you know, the rubber plantation, teak farms, teak plantation. I mean, and a host of others in that area. So it's a densely populated area that is being gradually overtaken by criminals. So, and most of the victims that are kidnapped are taken into that place. I mean, ransoms are paid there, and even when they are released, I mean, you get to know that they normally come out from around that place. So, if the governor is saying that, yeah, to nip this thing in the bud, I mean, we need to allow everybody to leave that place. If you want to stay there, come and register properly. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that's the clarification the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and also the governor, Fayemi, that was the clarification he made earlier today, that it's not a quit order to Miyetti Allah or Fulanis or any particular ethnic tribe, but a quit order to criminals that If you have genuine intention of staying in the forest, then come and register. I don't think there's any big deal there. And to add more salt to injury, I mean, look at the reckless editorial from Daily Trust too. That's not the first time they are doing it. I think somebody should.
It's very shameful.
Very, very, very
Sometimes
shameful. From Daily Trust, I mean,
I get ashamed being a journalist.
That I'm a journalist. That Daily Trust could be writing an editorial on that kind of thing with.
And it's one of the best newspapers in our country.
Honestly.
Without a doubt.
Very, very reckless.
To descend to that level,
level, it's a low, very, very low abyss that Daily Trust have descended to. I mean, to have written that kind of editorial without cross-checking your facts. I mean, so these are the issues. I mean, those who are supposed to be educating us are even igniting tension.
Complacency brought the raging COVID-19 to our shores, and it is responsible for its spread till now. Inundated by rising cases, the federal government has urged Nigerians to comply with safety protocols, particularly wearing a face mask, or it will be left with no option but another lockdown. Meanwhile, a record more than 1,000 cases in Lagos in the last 24 hours has triggered a big anxiety over the pandemic. Babajide, this is getting worrisome when we start getting this kind of figures from Lagos, and Lagos being the epicenter of this second wave of COVID-19. It's very worrisome.
One is really concerned that this is happening. 1,000 cases in one day. We really need to up our game in tackling this big problem. We must be careful not to become another South Africa, where about 690 persons died in one day. Already, Lagos also set the record for the number of deaths in one day. I think last week or the week before. So this has to be addressed one way or another. The truth is, 690 persons dying in one day in South Africa. If we get to that point, our health system cannot cope. So what we can do is to limit the capacity of this virus to cause trouble in our country. Bring it under control. We cannot eradicate it. It has come to stay. But we must control it, bring it under control, yes. Because we do not have the health system. We have one of the worst health systems in the world. We do not have the health system to handle the degeneration of this problem. That is my major concern. That's my major concern. So everyone must play his part. The government is reluctant to do a lockdown. But the government also realizes that it may be left with no alternative if things degenerate. For example, air travel is a major trigger for the spread of this thing. We have to tell ourselves the truth. You can see what UAE is doing now. In fact, most airlines of the world are alerting their frequent flyers that, look, no flights to UAE anymore, because they've kind of come up with a system whereby you can only go to the UAE through the Emirates airline. I don't know, maybe they think that that is the only guarantee that they have that in keeping this thing under check, keeping this thing in check. So
that shows capacity.
Many people, many airlines are now telling their people that no, it's only direct flight now. You can't even maybe, like you travel the other day, stop this place and then go to the UAE from there. It can't happen anymore now. It's now direct, and it is by that airline. So we just have to take measures. I was reading today, just before we got in, and I hope we'll be able to speak with our friend Atta, Ikaru Atta.
Okay,
in
the task force one.
Yes,
in Abuja.
because the breaking news is that Wuse Market, that the court ordered the closure of Wuse Market and some other plazas in the city. You know, and 100 people put on trial for violation of COVID-19. Yes, at some point we have to show that we are ready to fight this thing. Those who choose not to obey directives have to be visited by the full weight of the law. So this is the thing. Let's begin to show seriousness before things degenerate.
Olanyika, now, Ghana restates ban on weddings, concerts, and funerals. So you can see that we're just going back there. Now, it's going to be somehow difficult to impose the lockdown in the country again, knowing where we are coming from. A lot of people will be talking about palliative, we're talking about stimulus.
It's difficult to talk about a lockdown, but there are measures the government can take. What Ghana has done is a case in point. You can ban weddings. Well, when you say ban weddings, it's not that people will not go and wed. Yes, people can go to the registry, they can go to churches and all that and do their wedding, but socialization, that should be banned. I mean, one, it goes a long way. It makes economic sense because all the Ashwebi and the renter of halls and all that will be cut down. It is better the government takes that kind of measure fast and quickly than allowing things to go on the way it is going. Because now, Nigerians, we have a way of doing things. People don't believe or don't want to obey any law. You say that, okay, you have an event center, you can take 1,000 people, you put a law that, okay, you can't take more than 300, you can be sure.
The last euro charge.
You can be sure that 100, if you ask them to take only 100, there will be corners, they will cut corners.
The farmers and herdsmen conflict in Nigeria is snowballing out of control. A fallout of this is the looming food insecurity, as farmers have decided to flee states where tension is high. To avert this, Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje has called for ban on cattle movement from the north to the south. Okay, I thought we had the visual of Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. Now, Babajide, this is like unique to me because since we've been seeing comments, we've been seeing contributions from people from the north and south, but Governor Ganduje is radical, is kind of radical in his approach.
Yes, and you have to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
He once said that, look, Kano can provide the land for all cattle breeders in Nigeria to use for grazing. Because look, whether we like it or not, this open grazing that we are doing, we have to stop it at some point. What are we even gaining from it? We are not among the biggest producers of cattle in the world.
At all.
Not even in our continent.
We don't even have what Brazil can boast of.
Not even our continent. We can't compare ourselves even to some of the African countries, Zimbabwe and the rest of them. So, because how much milk do we even generate? If the cattle...
Those malnourished cows cannot
yes, they can't give you... How many liters of milk can they give you in a day? Compare, on the average, how many liters of milk the average cattle in Nigeria generates to what is generated in Zimbabwe, you will know that we have not started.
At all.
It's not sustainable, and it is causing conflict between our people. It's leading to food insecurity. So the best thing is for these headers to be encouraged to embrace ranching, and government has to lead the way. The individual states should build big ranches. Look at what the governor is saying in Kano, and I'm happy that even in Sokoto is being done. The governor of Zamfara too is building a big Ruga camp. We will get there. There won't be need for cattle to be traveling thousands of kilometers. If you travel from Kaduna, you bring cattle by road all the way from Kaduna to Lagos. By the time they get there, they're already malnourished. Yeah. Their bones will be showing. Yeah. You know, then how healthy would they even be? So this is the point. What Ganduje is saying is, look, the settlement that we are providing for them will have water. Even the artificial insemination, there will be artificial insemination center within the area. All that they need will be provided.
Okay, this is a popular.
Okay, let's just have a, this is Wasiu.
Yeah, the
one. Yes, look at him. This is his own farm.
Exactly. This is what
Wasiu is showing us how it is done. Wasiu is showing us how it is done. There's no big deal in this thing.
Yeah, that's all.
Look, they are going nowhere. Look at the cow. Yes,
very big. And exactly.
Look at them. Oh, that they don't need to go around. Look at that one. Look at the neck. Huh?
This is good.
Yes.
These are the real cows. You know, when people talk about
look at their bellies.
Cow causing
destroying
that they
crops.
have too many this and all that, it is not the Nigerian kind of breeded cow that can do that, because the cow has walked thousands of kilometers. So all what it needs, the nutrient it needs to get fat, to produce meat, has been lost. So
even with if we trek too much,
exactly,
we will lose weight. They will think we are fasting.
So the best thing is let them take an example from what Kwangwan is doing. That's the best way to keep cattle. If you continue to allow cattle to stray and walk everywhere, they are destroying farmlands. They are causing.
Look at that one that is feeding. Look at the neck now. Won't you feel like eating this kind of cow? Healthy with neck like that.
Look at what is happening now. If you allow them to just walk anywhere, they destroy farms. They lead to clashes. Many people have been killed. Millions of people have been killed.
It's a private business now. Nobody can trespass.
Governor Ganduje said, see, even the issue of cattle rustling will not exist anymore.
Exactly.
Because wherever you give them, they will be protected.
There. Everybody is
you put security there. Who will come and steal their cattle in that area? So the Falgore, there are forests in the north wasting away.
Wasting.
Falgore forest, for example, in Tudunwada local government of Kano.
Of Kano, yes.
Huge expanse of land just wasting away. Now, the old cattle rustlers, that was where they used to hide cattle that they steal. Ganduje now gave them amnesty. So the government can use that same place, establish a Ruga settlement, let these people come, bring their cattle, provide everything that they need. Everything, even veterinary doctors will be available. So why shouldn't people embrace this kind of idea?
In 2021, why must this be a major challenge in Nigeria, Jide? I thought
it will be a
we should be
major
talking
challenge
about
because we are not good at embracing new ideas.
Yeah.
We are not good at embracing new ideas. In 2020, the Food and Agriculture Organization listed Nigeria among 27 countries where there will be food crisis.
Yeah.
The kind of conflicts that we are getting, people on their farms, they get kidnapped right on their farms. You have bandits telling communities that if they do not come and pay, they will not be allowed to harvest. We have people masquerading as headsmen, coming into people's farmlands, trample on their crops, and then even still kidnap them or slaughter them It can't continue. It just can't continue. We've got to take measures to put an end to these kind of things. And this idea, as profiled by Governor Ganduje, is a laudable one.
Very, very.
But of course, I'm sure some people will start criticizing him now. But he has already envisioned a better Nigeria where you don't have to be moving cattle up and down. Look, you need to see the cattle from Mambila. You know, it's a very far-flung part of the country. The pasture that they consume there, excellent. If you see their cattle, you think you are looking at cattle from Florida.
Things that we should be thinking about.
But if you see the ones that are taking more than 1,000 kilometers, looking for water, we are in dry season now. Herders will trek and trek and trek to find water holes. But if you have a ranch, the water will be right at your disposal. I mean, why should we not embrace ideas that are okay?
It's just that
let all those things build, do ranches of their own.
People want to make money, but they don't want to invest. How can you be rearing cattle? You don't want to invest in their feeds. You don't want to invest in water, but you want just to go around taking them to eat grass anywhere or people's farm and destroying things. People don't want to invest. And that is the major problem. If you are not ready to invest in a business, then you are good at not doing the business at all.
Yes.
You cannot be using your own business to kill another man's business and endanger other people's lives and things like that. So, in this thing, what Governor Ganduje has done, or what he has said, is the way to go.
It's the right thing.
It's the right thing. We don't need all these cattle in trailer, traveling thousands of kilometers.
That is if they are going in trailer. I said they trek.
And then
they trek with them.
Moving them inside people's farms and all that.
Said that a good general leads his troop from the front. The new Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Lucky Urabo, led other service chiefs to the theater command of Operation Lafia Dole in Borno State. The state governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, who pledged to support the new service chiefs in the fight against insurgency, urged them to collaborate more with armed forces of neighboring countries like Chad, Cameroon, and Niger Republic. Babajide, when Governor Zulum, we're kind of happy to work with fresh service chiefs because at any point in time, he's always at the forefront that time, trying to say, look, my people are dying and my people who are not, they are not doing well at all.
Better protected.
So you want to work with this new CDS now?
Yes, with the new set of service chiefs. The good thing is that even as a commissioner for RRR in Borno State, he worked with some of the new service chiefs now.
Yeah.
People like all the three service chiefs had at one time or the other worked in Borno State. The chief of naval staff, the chief of army staff, chief of air staff, they all worked here, and their boss, General Lucky Rabo, was also theater commander and MNJTF commander. So he knows them. I'm sure he has personal relationship with some of them. So he will be hoping to build on that. And he said something that's germane. He said, pursue aggressive collaboration with the armed forces of neighboring countries like Niger, Cameroon, and Chad. I remember when Boko Haram was giving Cameroon government so much problem, especially in northern Cameroon, Fotokol and all those areas. They asked for Chadian troops. Chadian troops came to Cameroon, and the nonsense that Boko Haram constituted at that time, the governor advised them to work with neighboring countries. And I gave the example of when Cameroon had issues with Boko Haram in northern Cameroon, and they brought Chadian troops. There is nothing bad in allowing foreign troops to come into your country and help you.
Yeah.
You know how painful it is. They are chasing people from their country, and then they come into Nigeria.
It's a cross-border
Once they
thing,
come
so
into Nigeria by like maybe 1 mile, then they are forced to pull back. We have to look at that portion of the agreement so that you can give greater latitude to people pursuing terrorists. They don't need them in their country. We also don't need them. So they must not come and use our country as a haven of sorts. So he also told them to also embrace criticism.
Yeah.
Be tolerant of criticism. It will happen. People will criticize you.
Yep.
No matter what you do, people will criticize you. But don't say it as hatred. Oh, that Babajide, he hates the army. Oh, because he criticized your methods, your tactics. It's not hatred. If I say, for example, that I do not believe in the idea of super camp because it has left many communities unprotected, that's not hatred. It's the reality. If I say that the Nigerian army should embrace an offensive philosophy, not defensive, it is not hatred.
No.
We need to take the battle to these useless people. So this is what, this should not be seen as criticism. If the governor of Borno State goes to, I don't know, another areas, and he sees soldiers extorting money from travelers, it should not be seen as hatred, that he doesn't like the army. Because when you are doing that, you are exposing, you are causing traffic gridlock and even exposing people to danger. A suicide bomber could attack them at that point. So it's not hatred. That's the point that the governor is making. Because if you work together, he also asks for synergy between the armed forces. Let the Air Force and the Army work together. If they work together, they do more operations together. In no time, we will defeat these guys. In any case, they are even facing all kinds of problems because within them now, they are disunited. They are killing themselves. The ISWAP is broken up, kind of, because the guy, Ba Idrissa, after his death, you know, they also removed Abanawi. Abanawi and Ba Idrissa, they share the same parents. And then Abba Ghana, that was made their leader the other day, they've also removed him. So they have internal conflicts between them. So this is the time we can exploit. These are Chadian troops. When these Chadian troops, when they entered Nigeria almost 2 weeks ago, Boko Haram, they started fleeing and ended up in Kareto just for some time. Because they know that if we come together, work with these people with so much ammunition at their disposal, they will deal with them, so they are not prepared to wait. They started running.
Really?
Yes, even from Sambisa, a lot of them are running because Cameroonian troops are coming into Sambisa through Bama North. I guess there's a kind of synergy now between us and the...
That's what it calls for. If all those countries and Nigeria, they work together, it is easier to defeat them and box them in.
Yes.
So what the governor has said is a very good thing, and it's a strategic. In fact, it is a strategic thing, and the least of all things that the military command should imbibe. You need yourself with the other countries' military to work together. What happened to the joint military, what do they call it? Multinational task force. I mean, those are the kind of things that we need now. This is what is going to help in this war against insurgency. Because if that is not done, I mean, you see all these lines.
The mortar, they can fire several mortar rounds from one of them.
To line themselves up and they all work together,
There is nowhere to escape.
There will be nowhere to escape. This is what we're talking about now. Will be how to solidify the gains and.
They are running away. They are heading towards the North Central now because we are bombarding Sambisa.
Yes.
And Cameroonian troops have came in through Bama North. They are bombarding them, so there is nowhere to hide. If we sustain the intensity, I do not believe that a group like Boko Haram can defeat 4 countries.
No.
If all those 4 countries work together harmoniously and with aggression, these guys will be history in no time. And that's what we want to see.
But over and over, they keep recruiting, they keep getting fresh people, especially from our youths.
Well, you know, the reason for that is also because it looks as if at some point when we have exerted some level of victory, we relax. So that's what is happening.
Yes.
Because they will always want to gather more strength by recruiting more people. But by the time they are being bombarded from all the 4 countries, they are being bombarded by all the 4 countries, they will get it done. So that is very, very important. It is very important that we don't let up. It is very important that we don't let up. We allow them to continue. The 4 countries unite and fight them seriously.
Under the gloom of the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic, most citizens carry on as if nothing is amiss. 6 new deaths from the pandemic and 1,634 new infections suggest there is no respite yet. A report from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, said 75 health workers got infected in 1 week. This is another grim indication that people should run for cover. Babajide, health workers, those people at the forefront, it's been very, very challenging and difficult from, stopping them from being infected with COVID-19.
Yes. It's extremely difficult for the health worker, especially the surgeons and other people, to not get very close to their patients. It's extremely difficult. It's just like football. It's a contact sport. That's why footballers too keep getting infected. And this virus has become a real threat even to football across the world, because people get infected. Look at what happened to Aston Villa about 2 weeks ago. Almost the entire team was infected. They had to summon players from their youth team to face Liverpool. So, and the same team that they had beaten by 7 goals, beat them, I think, 4 goals to 1, because they had to field a weakened side. So the extent to which this virus is causing so much damage across our world cannot be underestimated. It's only here that you keep hearing people say, oh, there is no big deal about it, it's another form of malaria and all that. We've lost thousands and thousands of doctors because people have to do their job. And that's why abroad, for example, in the UK, look at the honor that they give the NHS staff, because they know that they are true heroes. They are the first defense against the virus. They are the people who confront the virus. They stand in the forefront to say, look, we must keep our people safe. 75 doctors to be infected in 1 week is a very grim figure. It's something to be worried about. It's something because there's no guarantee that some of them won't die. Yeah. I know that just less than 2 weeks ago, Lutz lost another doctor. load here in Lagos, lost another doctor. So this is the thing. We have to keep the doctors motivated. We have to provide the right kits for them. And we have to, the experienced ones amongst them have to constantly talk to the younger doctors about how they can protect themselves sufficiently
from this virus
against infection.
Emeka, from what with the assessment we've gotten so far, Lagos, Abuja, and still this city center still ranks among the rest, but when you go to the other part of the country, it's as if not coronavirus exists there.
Well, maybe it's part of the ignorance that Rajile talked about, but of course we know that there have been deaths. There have been cases of people just falling ill and dropping dead. Symptoms of COVID-19. I mean, somebody just fell ill, got well, after some time, fell ill again and just died. So there have been such cases. And well, of course, you know, traditionally, Nigerians take death as well. Something, well, it will happen. Something will kill somebody. And so, well, the person just died. You know, that's how God wanted it to happen. And so life goes on. And then you also find that you come across people who don't even believe there's any COVID-19, or they believe there's a global conspiracy against it. Now, unfortunately, it has permeated even to the level of children. Some of this information, you know, some of the things online, some of the things in the media, you know, these conspiracy theories, even children are passing them around in schools. So you would expect that how would we deal with something like risk communication? How do we get believability? How do you get people to cooperate with government, to cooperate with health workers, to take the pandemic seriously when they don't even believe it exists? When they can always cook up excuses for it. So, and then again, government has been talking of, okay, that we can lock down, we might lock down. But the issue is the way people are actually moving around from one part of the country to the other. I think the government is not even looking at that.
For the opt-in time, the deadline for the ongoing National Identification Number, NIM, and Subscriber Identity Module, that SIM integration exercise, has been extended this time by 8 weeks. The new deadline is April 6th, 2021. All those because the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, and the authority concerned failed to see the writing on the wall. This vindicates the position of Babajida and other guests on the program that the dates were unrealistic due to the inadequate capacity on the part of NIMC and the danger posed by COVID-19 pandemic. Let's share some of the comments with you.
We are going to be in for a hell of time. If the government insists that it's not going to shift, you know, the dates, and also insists that people must get registered at this time that we're having the second wave of COVID-19, I think that there is need for a rethink, because we don't seem to have put firmly on ground, you know, structures that can handle the kind of numbers that we are seeing at the moment.
Even if you are going to set a deadline, because Nigerians will always wait until the last minute to do things, we didn't show any form of seriousness until now. We didn't show, because what was the level of enlightenment? Did we also even improve capacity for people to register before now? We didn't show seriousness until December. And suddenly, we came up with an unrealistic deadline. I don't know why the minister chose to behave like that. He knew in his heart that that deadline was not realistic. No matter how good your intention is, you can't simply disconnect 164 million Nigerians. All you can do is have a time ceiling that is much more flexible for our people. The truth is, there is a need beyond suspending that NIN and resuming when this whole thing has come down. That's the sensible thing for government to do. Suspend it. No one is bigger than the state. The minister is not bigger than the state. They've got to be able to tell him that, look, yes, you have bright ideas, but we can do this later. Not only is this exercise being done at an inauspicious time,
Oh, yeah.
we have not got the capacity to get all of the 208 million subscribers have their SIMs linked to their NIN before that time ceiling. Even if we were to extend the exercise up to the end of February, the ideal thing that we have suggested is give more time. I'm saying that we do not have the capacity.
At least for the moment.
If we do our best, by the end of February, we will still have 160 million lines.
You know, you are scaring me.
I think that our people should look at the consequences. We can still talk about the likely consequences because I think they need to suspend this thing at such a time like this. They need to allow people.
There's always a second opinion.
Second opinion.
Yeah.
The Federal Executive Council should meet and debate. One other thing here that we do not even discuss at any time is NIN alone. Where are the cards?
Yes.
The cards that are supposed to come with registration.
Are we ready for the exercise?
So
Are giving people slips.
just give me. I received my own slips more than 2 years ago. No card. And so many, I have not seen any card even in my office. So what the government is emphasizing NIN. Where are the national identity cards that are supposed to come with this registration? Does it mean a whole commission like that does not have enough resources? Or that some people who have taken money for the cards? So
Okay,
these are rhetorical questions, but the answers should not blow in the wind.
You said, okay, we are going to get 170-something vendors
Yes.
to help. What can 170-something vendors do
In a country of 2 million.
when we are dealing with more than 160 million people yet to be linked? What can they do? Look, even if we are linking people, even if we are doing 2 million a day, and we have no capacity to do that, we will still not meet this deadline.
Yes.
Yeah.
So people have to ask themselves, okay, what can we do? What is the capacity? How many people can we get linked per day? That will be able to tell us that, look, we're on a wild goose chase. And if we're on a wild goose chase, it makes sense to simply extend this thing instead of treating Nigerians with absolute disrespect. Because forcing them to go and be struggling, some of them will wake up as early as 4 a.m.
Right.
What I'm saying is that the capacity to deliver this thing
It's not there.
is not there.
Yes, thank you for staying with us. And the NIN registration, the latest deadline now, 6th of April 2021. We said it earlier, Babajide, and it's unrealistic. The same thing when the All Progressive Congress wanted to embark on their re-registration exercise. The same observation was made by same Nigerians, saying that, look, you can't tell people not to go to church. You can't tell people not to go to do some other thing, restrict their movement, and you still want to encourage people. Babajide, this is another opportunity for Nigerians to just try and see if they can get it done between now and the 6th of April.
Yes, first and foremost, it's good that reason has prevailed. It was clear that we could not meet, Nigerians could not meet that deadline. And it was clear that it would be irresponsible to suddenly start disconnecting people at the expiration of the deadline. So the sensible thing to do is what we have done now. Increase it again. Give more people a chance to get their SIMs linked to their NIN. On an incremental basis, we will get there. But you can't just decree that February 6th or whatever.
People should be disconnected.
No, you can't do that because that sector is one of the most critical sectors in our economy, delivering value and revenue. So we cannot afford to let that happen. As at yesterday, when they had their meeting, we have had 56.18 million NINs.
Registered people?
Yes. So 56.18.
We're making progress.
By the time we had that program, it was 47.8 million. So there's a bit of progress, and it will go on like that, you know. January 18, it was 47.8 million. So it's now at 56.18. So we are getting there.
Significantly.
Yes, we are getting there, but they may still need
more time
to extend it because 8 weeks is not enough. Certainly not enough.
More time. But I've never thought of that idea that I'll wake up in the morning, I'll go and face this kind of thing. In the second wave of COVID-19, it has never crossed my mind that if you want to cut off your line, cut off your line. But I cannot risk this kind of thing.
Part of the problem is that governments they have programs that are not well thought out. What they are doing now is what they should have done at the beginning. It was obvious that the time was not realistic. But now they've asked the operators to assist in doing the registration, which is what they should have done in the first place. Because these operators registered SIM.
Yes.
And they were able to do it for everybody that was running. Yeah,
and they were able to update their data.
And they were able to do that. When there was a law to do that, all the operators were able to do that.
It took time,
to go there and register yourself.
Yeah,
it took some time. So that's what they should have done. Just by fear, thinking that you have some few offices that are not well manned, you don't even have facilities. Even when you register, what they give you is slip. They don't even have the cards. So when you issue, but it's not because it's not well done. Now that they've asked operators to do that, then over time the operators will be able to solve the problem.
So we hope that by this April, the number of Nigerians that would have, but it's not possible to cover the two.
It will improve significantly because the operators are doing it now. So when the major operators, Glow, MTN,
all of them are admitting.
So by the time they are doing that now,
so all of them to go to my operator.
Yes, all of them have their outlets everywhere. So and they have the structure. Okay. You know, because when they were doing the registration of the SIM, you remember when you want to register your SIM, they will take your picture, they will take, they will capture your biodata and all.